Hello, everybody. My name's Milan Starcic. Welcome to Freedom Rising, a podcast dedicated to empowering individuals on the journey to personal growth, lasting serenity, and freedom from addiction. Tune in and join the movement. Your journey to freedom starts here. We neither represent, promote, or demote any 12-step program or organization. We are merely souls on the path of recovery with the desire to expand our lives and experiences and share them with you. Hi, everybody.
What's up, guys?
Welcome to the 103rd Recovery Freedom Rising podcast. I'm Milan Starcic with a plethora of co-hosts, Andrew Norman, Kyle Peddy, and Mikey A. That's right.
What up?
Today's topic is expectations. Can you share what this means to you, Andrew, and why you're happy to discuss this topic here today?
I would love to, Milan, Mikey, Kyle Peddy, my guys. Good to see you guys, man. I missed y'all. It's been a long time. Expectations, guys. Dealing with expectations is kind of one of those things that we have to manage. A self-imposed with external implications, right? And they breed resentments. I heard expectations breed resentments. That's something we want to stay away from, obviously. But obviously, we want to avoid being disappointed. We want to stay positive in this process. And if we have all these unrealistic expectations, they're not going to come true. We're going to get negative quick. So there's a lot that goes around these expectations. How do we get them? How do we put them on our plate for something for us to handle? How do we let them go if it's something that we need to let them go? And obviously throughout this conversation, we'll get into that a little bit more. But we have to identify those unrealistic expectations, set realistic goals, right? You're shifting from expecting to accepting. That was kind of the thing that I was, the little flavor I had in my ear when I came in here. It's a shift.
That's the first thing.
From expecting to accepting, right? And it's about self-compassion, man. You got to have self-compassion when we have these expectations too, because you really, really, really got to look after yourself. On the front end, because on the back end you can really come out with some bad feelings sometimes, and we don't want that. And so I'm gonna pass that to Mikey, and we'll go around that way.
Yeah, Mikey, then Kyle, then me.
Yo, just at me next time with the last part of your answer, bro. Damn.
Love you, man.
What is it again, Milan? Just so I don't go off on a tangent.
Expectations?
Just your overview intake on it before we start asking questions.
Just what expectations means to you and why you're happy to come and discuss it here today.
Absolutely. I mean, expectations is a hell of a topic for somebody like myself being in recovery because, Andrew hit a lot of nails on the head right there because there's such things as unrealistic and realistic expectations. And, being in recovery has taught me to learn to navigate such things, man. Like, I need to be able to do that. I need to be able to stay fluid, if you will, and be able to go with the ebb and flow of life. Expectations play a big role, man, because I'm never going to be cured, and I'm always going to have these preconceived notions, and I'm always going to have these things that I expect of not only myself, but other people. It's like a hard thing to really let go of. But when I can get with the fact that when those expectations, whether they're realistic or unrealistic, aren't met, they don't gotta fuck me up like they used to. They just don't have to. And I love this topic, man, because like he just said, man, I was always taught that an expectation is a premeditated resentment. And I didn't understand that in the beginning, but through some time in this process, and boys, I'm just going to say it because it's a nice round number. We have 50 months back in this process today.
Come on,
I'm
man.
fucking damn
Let's
proud of that. I know that's right. That's right. I think it's actually 1,522 sunrises. I'm not sure. I'll double check for you.
That's insane.
But
proud of you, man.
Yeah, man. The expectations piece is huge because I have to learn how to navigate this stuff because it's never. I'm never gonna not have an expectation. It's just the way my world works, the way my brain is wired, and I'm okay with that today, man. And I love y'all. And I don't know who I'm alley-ooping it to. I'm assuming Mr.
KP.
Petty.
Yeah, KP.
Alley-oop.
Congrats on 50 months, Mikey. Um, yeah, expectations, dangerous for me. This exact topic sent me back out in the past. It's a really slippery slope for me, especially before I began to recognize, positive and negative, because I hold myself on a pedestal a lot of the times. I used to set unrealistic goals for myself, like where I should be a year from now. And, early in the program, after I came back from a relapse, my sponsor told me, he's like, you're not living one day at a time if you're setting expectations that far away. And, my biggest defect of character is, being my own worst critic. Because if I set a goal and I don't achieve it, I'll be the first person to beat myself up over it. And, I had to recognize how to set small goals and, make ones that were achievable. Because if I was able to achieve the small ones, then I can work my way up. But, it's been said, expectations are premeditated resentments. And resentments are what sent me back out every single time. And just recognizing, healthy expectations. And, Mikey said it. I too myself, I'm always going to have expectations, but it's just realizing where the healthy ones are and where the negative ones are, and to stay away from the negative ones. So I will pass it on to Milan.
Woo!
Dude, love you,
Well,
Pat.
has anybody mentioned that they love you guys today? Because I love you guys a lot, and I'm super duper. I was looking forward to this all day. So you know what? It was like I was trying not to create an expectation about this show. But I already in my mind,
Silly.
I was already having a good time. I was like, man, one of them would have to shit the bed real bad for me to not have a good time here.
That's
today.
why he texted me a minute ago, like, you better get your ass in here, motherfucker.
I was like, get on.
I
man.
expected this to be a foursome and amazing.
Yes. For me, expectations, the thing about it is that if I'm having an expectation, I'm instantly not living presently. I'm instantly like thinking about the future, and everything that is pushing me in this program about what I'm learning is showing me that all these tools are designed for us to live principled and in the present moment. Like those two things are the absolute musts for us to be on the right path, and so if I am thinking about what you should be doing or what you should have done, I'm not here right now. And so for me,
Like
it's
that.
like, I'm really trying to, like, when I catch myself doing it, like, that is one thing that I'm loving my little hairy God box for. It's like, man, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, okay, what's bugging me or what expectations I got? And I'm just writing them up and I'm
Do
stuffing
they
them in
know? Do they know what that
Do you
is?
guys know about the hairy God box?
I don't think either one of them knows. They need to know.
I think he explained it to me.
Oh, yeah, I think Mikey got the hairy God box. Yeah,
Hey,
like
Pete
mine's
needs to
on my
know just a real quick synopsis.
Gotta let him
breakdown.
know.
Basically a little tiny box with a slit, and it's like it's the physical representation of your will or God's will. And so you write out your resentment, or
In
you
more ways
write,
than one.
yeah,
Sorry.
that's right. KP's like, this one's X-rated. Yours can be the triple X Harry God box, KP.
Oh, it's a triple X non-hairy God box is what he calls it.
Yeah, no, he likes his clean shaven.
All right, about that. How about that?
Okay.
Look at the time. Look at the time.
Anyway,
It's crazy.
Andrew, you got a question for Mikey?
I do, man. I do. So, Mikey, so we can plow through this. What expectations have I
Plow
placed on
through
myself? That's what she said. What expectations have you placed on yourself in recovery, and how have they helped?
You gotta repeat that question,
I will.
dude.
I will. How about them dolphins? That's crazy.
And
I like the porpoises. I like life to have porpoise.
You got 18 months too, huh? That's
Is
crazy.
it because of the blowhole? Go ahead, go ahead.
Oh man, mom. Yeah, mom, I'm here. Yeah, what's up, mom? What's up, mom? Yeah, I know. All right, so Mikey, what expectations have you placed on yourself in recovery, and how have they helped or harmed you?
Wow.
I love you guys, man. Laughter's love, man.
yeah.
So, wow, that's a really good question, man. That's a really, really good question. Because when I first got here, man, I didn't know what to expect. Actually, I did expect something. I expected that I put the drugs down and like life was just gonna fix itself. Like everything was gonna be okay. Magically, all these problems that I was dealing with were gonna go away because like I got clean, right? I got clean, so everything needs to start working out now. And that was the one expectation I had. And I found out real fast that's not the case, right? And I know for me that like patience, patience plays a crucial role in the expectations that I had, especially in early recovery, right? Because we're talking about learning how to communicate. We're talking about learning how to listen. We're talking about like, for lack of a better term, collaboration with other addicts, right? And I needed to learn to have patience with all of that. I needed to learn to be able to slow things down a little bit because I'm still that guy, right? Me and Andrew, I'm gonna say this all the time, right? Like I'm that addict. I stopped the microwave with 3 seconds because I want what I want and I want it now. Like patience is not always something that's
We have the same mom.
yeah, definitely. But
Sorry.
patience is something that like I needed to learn. I needed to learn. That's a fucking learned skill for me. And you know, they're not always unrealistic, right? Because those realistic expectations, like there was some truth to that, right? But when I first got here, like I put the drugs down and I thought my entire life was going to be fixed. No, only the immediate areas that were pretty obvious. So that was an expectation that was met, not fully, partially. And I was okay with that. And I'm even more okay with that today because man, like I said, there's just so many different things that an expectation will do to me. And there's so many different levels to it. We talk about peeling that onion and an expectation can be a very deep rooted thing. And check it out. Some of those layers that I peel back might not bother me, but when we get a little deeper, it starts to bother me, right? And that 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 we part of this process, that part is an expectation that's a healthy one for me today because I can expect that I can call one of you three fellas and um one of you specifically, I don't want to fucking name you guys because I love each and every single one of you. But like, I know this person when I call, they're not going to co-sign some shit, and I'm like, "Yo, what's up with this?" And do you really want to know the truth? Yeah, that's why I'm asking you. I know you're not going to spoon feed me some bullshit. Like, I just know that, and it's a beautiful part of this process, man. It's definitely like a give and take type of thing because it has harmed me in some ways, but the growth that I achieve from learning to navigate it is worth its weight in fucking gold, man. It's worth its weight in gold. I can expect the program to do exactly what I'm putting into it, right? It's not going to just work by osmosis. I don't just get clean and not learn to live by some spiritual principles and this thing just magically works. That's not how this program works. Check it out, right? This program's going to work too. Even if I don't work it, it's just going to work for somebody else, not me.
Facts. Get
Right?
them.
There
I
it is.
get what I put
Get
in.
them. Get
I
them.
get what I put in. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, man. I'm sorry, I won't alley-oop it to you, Mr. Petty. I will one time pass it to you since you from Canada. Hey, keep that stick on the ice, bro.
Hey buddy, hey buddy. And since it's so cold up there, I'll ask the question again because I know it probably froze out before it got to you, man. And look, it's not osmosis, it's osmosis. You don't get it by osmosis, sitting that ass in the seat. Osmosis. All right, man. Coming to you, Kyle Peddy. All right. What expectations have you placed on yourself in recovery, and how have they helped or harmed you?
Oh, oh, that's a good one. I think the biggest expectation I set on myself would have been, um, expecting myself to show up for every single person that is in my recovery. And, that almost set me up for failure because at one point, I was putting so much effort into helping everybody that, I was emptying my cup and not getting it filled back up by any other means in recovery. And, I had to really catch that before, it took a toll on me because, I'm that person that literally I want everybody to recover. And, I was always running to the person struggling to try to help them, even when I was struggling. And it almost set me back out. Um, and, I had to find balance. I can always answer the phone, but I have to be careful of my own recovery and my own mental state too, because there's been times in the last 10 years and 5 months that, um, I put so much effort into a couple people that they just ended up going back out. And then I was left with an empty cup. And I realized that expectation wasn't going to get fulfilled. It wasn't possible. And it got really dangerous. And, now I'll put my number in a meeting chat or on a phone list. And, I'll always answer that phone, but I have boundaries today, especially when it comes to sponsors. We started going through the steps, and those two individuals ended up just ghosting me, blocking me on social media, and they don't answer their phone, and I don't know where they're at today. But I get attached, and that's what I have to be careful with, because even in recovery, I like to carry other people's feelings, not just my own, and that's dangerous for me. So, really good question, Andrew. Hopefully I answered it.
I love you, man. You did. You absolutely did. All right, Milan, you ready?
Yes.
I love you too.
But I need the question.
Oh no, you don't get that. What expectations are helping you grow? Oh, excuse me, that's not the one. Yeah, it was. Oh God.
They're
Sorry about
helping
this.
me grow.
I'm
getting jacked.
Feed me, Steamboat.
All right, here it is. There it is. I got it right down here. What expectations have you placed on yourself in recovery, and how have they helped or harmed you?
Okay, so man, I think there's like kind of three parts, right? The first part was that when 2020, I ended up dry knuckling it for 20 months. And in that period, at about 3 to 6 months, a lot of my messed up brain stuff from using and drinking came back like magically. And so I expected that to happen again this time. And I think I just took my damage much further in this round. And so when it wasn't, um, I had to settle with just a lower cognitive capacity, and it was like come on, it's gonna come, and it didn't, and that was pretty disappointing. Actually, it was kind of a resentment to myself that got created about what I did to myself in that respect, and then I pre Tom Smith, I was really starting to slip into expecting myself to be able to remove my defects. And I was, and man, until the current wave of like the limitless surrender, like I was, I was in this cycle of like kind of feeling like I was getting somewhere and then failing and then beating myself up about it. And it was just like going over and over and over. I'm just like, man, I'm just like getting nowhere. And it was because I wasn't supposed to get anywhere. I was supposed to start surrendering that shit. And so that you know that really it was like it wasn't a guilt, it was like a shame, an inner shame that I was feeling about that. And now a lot of that's gone. And one of the things that this lady that I met, she was on the podcast too, but she does a really good job at trying to find gratitude in every situation and bringing more great gratitude like into my prayer. Like all my prayer right now has an implementation of gratitude on every level, and that makes me make a lot less expectations because I'm focusing on what's right now, you know, and trying to be present in that way. And so it's been a good shift, and I'm stoked, and that's my answer. And I love you three.
I love you guys, man. I love y'all.
I'm not chicken to say I love you.
You killing me, man. You killing me. I love you, man. So what is my answer to my question? Let's see. Andrew, what expectations have I placed on myself in recovery and how have they helped or harmed me? Man, that's a heavy question. I had this pressure on myself to get it right all the time, you know. And that shit'll eat you up, man. That was the first thing I had written down is I felt like I always had to be right all the time. Still get in that mode sometimes. I got to check myself quick. I really, when I feel myself in one of those uncomfortable feelings, if it comes up to one of those expectations, like I'm in a healthy enough position now to back out of it before I get swallowed alive by it. The fantasy of a perfect recovery, right? I had that, that there's like this fantasy of this perfect recovery and that everybody's well in here. And that's not the case, man. We go through shit, bro. We go through a lot of shit in these rooms. And now that we don't have drugs to cancel those emotions, man, we got to deal with them, right? Or just go back to the old way of doing things and running from our problems. But that's not what we're here for. We're not here to bounce in and bounce out. This is a commitment long term, guys. This is a commitment long term to ourselves, to our health, to our well-being, to doing the right thing. It's really, really important. Every little decision is can make or break us in this process. I've realized that, man. Something as small as just we were the last podcast we did, it made me realize it was on doing the right thing. And in one of those answers, I realized how small just doing that right thing it could be. And it's as little as just staying in a meeting and not going to use drugs when you feel like you're going to go use drugs. That right there can change your life. There was a hairy time when I was getting ready to go to the interview for the job I'm at now that I almost didn't go, and I was freaking the fuck out, man. I thought I was on drugs again. I was like 90 days clean and I almost didn't go, and I wouldn't have this job now. But I didn't, right? I had somebody help me out and just had me stay in the meeting, and he explained to me how amazing it was that I didn't go use and how I was doing the right thing. And it really, really changed things for me because one simple little decision, man, you can fuck you up, man. It can fuck you up. What else do I have here? Self-judgment when falling short. I judge the shit out of myself if I fall short. And I now I've got a little time under my belt. I don't get too upset with myself when I make a mistake or if I don't conquer that thing. You know what I mean? I got to understand that there's something on the other side of that for me that God has in store for me. And that thing wasn't meant for me. I was meant to learn something from it. And then it's learning to balance hope and with the real reality, right? The hope and reality thing. We have all these grand hopes. We have the hope for all these things, but we got to balance that with realistic goals. And I'll hit this again. We got to shift from expecting to accepting. Remember that. It's very simple. All that expecting, we got to change it for accepting. And it's about setting boundaries too, man. I got to set really, really healthy boundaries, man. And once I set them, I got to stay gotta stay steady on those boundaries. You know what I mean? I can't be flip-flopping back and forth on my boundaries today, because that will just short circuit me, man. I'll be short circuited quick. You know, if I'm setting boundaries, but then I'm not acting on those boundaries, and I'm still letting those people attack me in ways that I'm still up in, in my feels about, man, then I'm doing a disservice to myself, you know? But when I expected that, like when I got clean, like right when I got clean and I cleaned out and I was praying and I had this God in my life and I started doing this step work, even though it was technically by myself at first, I thought I was like healed, right? I thought it was over. I thought this process was over. I got 100 days clean and I'm like ready to go take on life, man. I'm ready to go be a pilot, you know, go fly in the air, right? And so we have to temper these expectations, man, because just as quick as, we're all magical motherfuckers, man. Somebody who's in recovery, who has a God in their life and has a sponsor and working steps and in this program for the right reasons. We've touched on this before, guys. You're not going to get that job before them. There's some magical people when they get their mind on something. Good luck in trying to take that from them. But on the same note there, that what is it? That addictive personality. We're more apt to going the wrong way with that. Does that make sense? Like we're more apt to using that to go negative quick, as opposed to using that addictive personality to really do good things constantly, right? Just because we've been in that lane for so long, we've been in that drug world, whatever it is, we're comfortable in shit and chaos, right? Chaos. I don't know what peace is, man.
In my shitty diaper, dog.
Fuck is peace. I'll take all y'all shit, put it in my diaper, and I'm ready for more, man. I'm operating better than I was before I got y'all shit in my diaper.
That's right.
Because I'm an addict. Passing that to you, Milan.
No, it's Mikey asking a question to KP.
That's what I meant.
Well,
I would like Andrew, a high visibility question here.
Andrew, just really fast. Can you repeat the question you just asked? Because it's a little similar to mine, but I'll explain it in a second.
Yeah. What expectations have you placed on yourself in recovery, and have they helped or harmed you?
I don't think I can ask this question then. All right.
I got another one for you if you want me to.
No. It's okay. It's okay. So I'll go a different route, right?
Sorry, bro.
I'm asking this to KP, right?
Yes.
What does progress really look like, and how can we shift away from solely focusing on abstinence as the only measure of success?
I'm trying to process that. You want to dumb it down for an oil field worker?
Say it again, bro.
What does progress really look like, and how can we shift away from solely focusing on abstinence as the only measure of success? It's a little spicy.
It is. I'm stumped. Doesn't happen very often. You got me stumped.
Say it ain't so.
Not perfection. Progress, not perfection.
Roll with it.
That's easy. That's dumbed down enough.
That's what he asked for in the first place, Mikey. Damn.
Progress, not perfection. I think for me, that's celebrating the small victories. Realizing that I'm nowhere near perfect, and I'm never gonna be. It's integrity for me. Ties into that. Am I showing up every day and being the best version of myself? Am I, giving all my effort where the effort needs to be? And, not beating myself up if I have an off day where sorry, I got a phone call. Yeah, like I'm going to have off days, and it's not beating myself up when I can't show up and give it 110%. And, that's in every aspect of my life. That's work, that's relationships, that's recovery. You know, I've been a bit of a perfectionist most of my life. And, I try to, especially in my career, and I try to use that same attitude in my career in recovery and all other areas, because, why should I just try to be the best of my ability in my job and not other areas? And, um, that's a big one for me. That was one I struggled with when I first came in, because I tried to be absolutely perfect in everything. And my higher power smacked me in the side of the head real quick with that, because, I I'd get all down and out when something wouldn't go my way, and, or I'd be helping someone and it didn't turn out the way I thought it would, which is an expectation. And, it's finding the silver lining. And, it was mentioned already, finding the gratitude in the small things. If I have an attitude of gratitude, I notice the perfection, or not the perfection, the progress. And, that keeps me from that perfection mentality. And, I didn't know anything about that before I came into these rooms, into the program. It wasn't until I started working a program that I figured out those things and working with the sponsor. And I'm so grateful for it, because, it's changed a lot of areas of my life. So hopefully that answered it.
Beautiful, man.
I love that.
Thanks, bro.
Okay, I need the question again, because I was just
It is
on a journey.
What does progress, and I'm putting this in quotations
Yep,
for you, right?
I see it.
What does progress really look like, and how can we shift away from solely focusing on abstinence as the only measure of success?
Abstinence hasn't been the measure of success for a long time for me. Like, it was the initial perk of being in the program, and now having the program and the entire journey is like 95% of what I love in it. And for me, the progress thing only comes about through, like, I would say at this point, my step 10, or if I'm embarking on another step 4 here. But doing those little inventories really shows me that, like, what bugs me now is not the same thing that bugged me before. The extent to where it takes me now doesn't take me as far as it took me before, on so many shortcomings and so many different actions. And honestly, my willingness is at an all-time freaking high, and it's just keeps swelling up. And part of it to do is just the inspiration I'm getting from these conversations, you know, and I'm being open-minded at the meetings I'm going to. Like, I mean, man, I was just at a guy's cake today for 45 years. The guy's 35 years yesterday. Next Wednesday, I'm going to one 58 years.
Awesome.
It's insane. And so, like, man, you can get some real ramblings out of some old boys, and some real beautiful ramblings, like where they're just like one sentence and they're like, drop the mic. And I'm like, yes, and I really like that. And I feel like I'm actually happy with my progress right now. Like, I wasn't for a long time. I wasn't, and I think it's because I really was on the wrong path for a bit. And like, I'm on a day-to-day basis Mikey, I had an answer from praying the other day.
Oh
And
yeah, buddy.
and I had an answer, and it was like it was just like, man, something good is happening. Something good is happening when you're getting an answer, and it was truly hair raisingly connection to the universe, amazing, and it's happened again since then. So
Has it?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hello.
like
I'm
man,
so proud
it's
of you, bro.
I'm
Dude, I
so
can't even.
I'm in a real program bliss right now. Like I'm
I'm
in a
excited.
real pro like I'm in just like I'm just like, man, you can't stop this boy from walking and thinking and program.
Whoosh.
That's
Call
right.
him Surfer Milan. Just
How many
surfing,
steps I
surfing
got?
away.
I got enough to
Yeah,
walk to the sky.
the spiritual ninja that man is,
Boom, boom,
boy.
boom, boom. That's right. I love you boys.
uh,
I'm grateful to
I
be
love you,
here.
love
brother.
you, man. Love
I
you,
You
have
know,
bro.
it's
no
funny.
clue if I finished and answered that, but
Hell
I'm
yeah.
away.
You definitely did, and you
Doesn't matter
mentioned that prayer
anyways.
thing. You mentioned that prayer thing. I don't know. I can't quite remember where I heard it, but I heard prayer works. I'm not sure.
Does facts. That's the
You know,
truth. That's the truth.
those who say it doesn't haven't done enough. Isn't that what you say?
If you haven't, you need to push PUSH. Pray until something happens. Pray until something happens. It'll start happening, bro. Promise. Push, push, push.
Boom.
You ready, Mr. Andrew?
Born ready, man.
What role, or I keep reading the top one. What does progress really look like, and how can we shift away from solely focusing on abstinence as the only measure of success?
A great question, man. You know, um, simple abstinence from drugs is not where it's at. What does it say in our literature that our disease involved a lot more than just the simple using of drugs, which means to me that obviously they knew I was chasing people down, lie, cheating, stealing, whatever I had to do to get those numbers and breaking the law and whatever I had to do. So now my recovery process has to involve much more than just the simple abstinence from drugs. And what does that mean, man? It means becoming an upstanding member of society. You know what I mean? And learning how to love again and getting all these spiritual principles, man. I when I came in here, my initial thought was to plow through these steps as fast as I could so I could get better. Right? Plow through them, man. If I get them all done in one night, I'll get them all done in one night and I'm healed, right? And you know, even though you have people, I'll keep it on me, even though I have people telling me not to do it that way, you don't really understand what you have to do. You're like there's no way to know how to do this, you know. And it's so it's learning these processes and doing them and failing and coming up with ways around them and having people around you that help you. It's like that's how this, I mean, this program is so magical because all those things link together, right? If you're in a position to hear this thing and feel this thing, like this thing swallows you up. But if you're fighting it the whole way in here, man, if you're trying to complicate your way out and use the literature as a means to as like a weapon against yourself and everybody else in the meeting and shit like that, and you're just not in a place to be able to grasp onto these things, then you know, good luck. You know, I pray for you and I hope that it gets better for you. But those of us that are in that lane, man, once you get wrapped up in it, it's really, really hard if you're dedicated to, well, first off, you can't unsee or unlearn these things. So people do go back out, but you got to get your ass back in here, man, because you can't unlearn all the shit that you've learned, all these things that you've learned while you've been in this program. You can't unlearn those things. But you got to learn to ask for help. You got to learn to ask for help, man. And it's not about being honest with everybody else. It is, but it's about being honest with yourself. Because I remember early on, I was lying to myself about where I was in my head, in my coming out of this thing, because I wanted everyone else to know I was better. And there's my pride. That's that pride and ego in the way. Like I was 28 days in rehab and I'm all better now, guys. I'm gonna get everything back. And that's not how it works, man. You know, that's not how it works. You know, I expected to make every meeting, even when I was tired and all that shit. And I just would just get burned out. You know, it's about balance. We got to balance ourselves in this recovery process, man. Because if we're not balanced, even good things will take us out, right? And then I'll build on what we were talking about the other day. When I'm in a good spot, I'm more apt to be getting complacent. You know, when I'm struggling is when I tuck right up to this program, man, and I'm nestled right up next to my people, man. But when I'm doing well, that's where things get a little tricky for me, man. And that's where I don't care how much clean time you got when you're doing well, those inhibitions and all those good feelings and shit can really put us outside of our program and what got us to this point. And you can be doing well for so long, man, and make one bad decision, man. And the shit that's on those streets now, man, you might not come back from that. You know, I see it all the time. And so it's about managing my expectations, coming here the same way every time. People know what to expect when I show up, man. I might show up right on time or a minute late, but you know what to expect from me when I get here. Right, Milan? Right, Milan?
I know not to expect you 5 minutes early.
That's funny. That's funny. And unless I say I'm going to be like 10 minutes early, then I'll be 5 minutes early, right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
So look, I expected myself to show up, not be perfect or present, and that's where the miracle happened, man. You know, where did I have written down? You know, serenity comes when we trade these expectations for acceptance. I'll say that shit till the day I die, man. And where denial persists, solutions cease to exist, man. So I'm not about coming up with reasons why I can't today. I come up with reasons why I can, because I've been through hell. And Mikey, we all greet each other in these rooms as if we survived that same near-death catastrophe, man. So I was greeted with that love, that unconditionally love, the unconditional love, and it scooped me up, man. And I needed it. I needed it. So I leaned into it. I fell into it. They equipped me with a super soaker full of it. Now it's my job to spray it. So love you guys, man.
Love you too, man.
Back, bro. Man, you guys keep dropping these little nuggets, and it's like I get these deja vu feelings. Like I swear I heard somewhere the good times can be a trap. I don't remember exactly where, but you guys keep dropping these little nuggets for me.
It's beautiful, man.
What does progress really look like, and how can we shift away from solely focusing on abstinence as the only measure of success? And to put it very simply, progress, not perfection. Progress, not perfection, right? It's just like listen, I do a very good job to try and respect the traditions of the program that I attend, and I try not to. I mean, if you know, you know. The language I use, if you know, you know, right? And the piece where it's like the abstinence piece, right? It tells me in the first sentence, in the place that I go, it doesn't matter what or how much we used. In here, staying clean has to come first, right? And with that, it's just abstinence, right? And just like good and bad feelings, right? I choose to not really call them good and bad. I don't try and label things that. I just don't, because I get to choose what gets that label, right? I don't use that as a barometer for my recovery. Yes, staying clean has to come first, right? But for this addict, man, it's about living clean. And what does that progress really look like? I couldn't tell you, because it's an ever-changing thing. Some days it's spiritual, some days it's fucking not. Some days it's snot crying, some days it's gritting my teeth, some days it's telling my brain to shut the fuck up. Actually, that's pretty much every day. But you know, it doesn't look the same, right? Like that progress piece, man, because like I can't really gauge that. And I feel like that's where the we part of this thing comes in, right? Like y'all are my eyes and ears. I don't see me coming. It's just another fucking day in Mikey's fantasy world, right? Whether I'm spiritually fit or not, there's still a bunch of shit going on up in here, right? And we talk about this all the time. Perception is my reality, right? So I don't really know what that progress really looks like. I can tell you how it feels, right? Check it out. I'm gonna just talk about it because I shared about it in a meeting before this, right? I had to go drop some stuff off today in an area in New Jersey that I used to run around and use in, right? I used to, like, literally a block or two away from where I was, dropping these pieces of equipment off at work. Like, I had to be there, right? Not once did I romanticize it. Not once did I fantasize about it. Not once did I think like, oh, let me go see how fucking homeboy's doing. No. You know what it was? I was super uncomfortable being there, right? I was uncomfortable, like I was out of place, right? And that was my element for a long fucking time, right? So, um, I don't know what it looks like, but I can tell you what it feels like. I can tell you what it feels like because it's completely foreign to me, right? Like that abstinence piece, that's beautiful, man. The abstinence, that's what this is all about, right? Not putting another substance into my body, but well, like
Yep.
that's all it is. Andrew hit that nail on the head, man. Hit the nail right on the head. This must involve more than just simple abstinence, right? That's getting a home group. That's getting a sponsor. That's step work, right? Getting in service, all the things that are suggested, right? And man, I thought y'all were corny in the beginning when you guys were telling me that stuff. I thought y'all were corny. I'm like, we're gonna fucking do what? I'm gonna open up to that dude.
Cornballs.
I'm gonna open up to that dude. He's gonna know my shit. Like, no, that's not gonna happen. And check it out, man. That's the only thing that's ever worked. It's the only thing that's ever worked for me, right? And again, I don't know what it looks like. I can tell you what it feels like on a day-to-day basis because sometimes I digress or regress, if you will. Sometimes I regress. Sometimes, that progress uh, doesn't meet my expectations, right? Because I feel like I should be somewhere else right now. I feel like, with a little over 4 years back in this process, I should have X, Y, and Z. And the simple way to put that, right? The way to dummy that down for this addict, I spent the better part of over 20 something years walking into the middle of those woods. And now all of a sudden, in a short 4 years and change, I feel like I'm supposed to turn around and be all the way back out. That's an
Mhm.
unrealistic expectation of myself. So like there's a lot to that, man. But like first and foremost, man, I like this question, I chose it because it's a little different, but like this is what it's about, right? Like it tells me in my literature where I come from that not you any day not using is a successful day, right? It tells me that, but it tells me in a few lines after that, it's about the active change in my ideas and my behaviors. Sure, I might not put a substance into my body, but did I go rob a bank? Did I go do this? Did I go intentionally hurt somebody? Did I go do anything that's outside of the norm in recovery? Right? Like was I that tornado in somebody's life today? This thing's more than just about abstinence, but I have to stay clean first, right? I have to. And if I'm not working towards my program, man, I'm looking for a way out. My disease is looking for a way in. If I'm not looking for a way towards a God of my understanding, and yeah, man, I really love you fellas very much, man. I'm looking at this screen and I'm like, fucking, I don't think I'd rather be anywhere else on a Wednesday evening right now. Even with my Yankees playing right now. Even with my Yankees playing right now. I love y'all.
Love you too. And a day clean is a
Okay.
miracle, even if it's never followed by another one, bro.
Mr. KP, do you have a question for me?
I sure
Rhymes.
do.
That was a rhyme.
Milan, what expectations have you set when pursuing friendships or in a romantic relationship?
You know, that's a real tough one because I think like a lot of people lose their relationships coming into recovery, and I still had mine. And so I remember, being in treatment, and people are like, "Hey, man, you guys gonna make it?" And I was just like, I have no clue. I'm like, but she just gave me like 21 years or 22 years at that point of like, dealing with me. I'm like, so we at least need the time to give this like the straight chance, you know? And I would like to say that I don't put expectations on relationships, but that would be incorrect and lying. I think I think right now, like I healthily put the expectation that I'm going to exist in a reciprocal relationship. Like if like I would like to be in relationships where I'm able to exchange ideas and exchange love.
Hmm.
And not feel judged for wanting either one of those to be communicated, because I feel that if it is, then you're never knowing me. And if you don't want to know me, then what are we doing even pretending it's a relationship? You know? And yeah, I think that's where I'm going to leave that. But I like that question. Great one, KP.
Nice.
I'll take that question again.
Oh yeah, it's going to
Andrew.
cost you $5.
I got you. Put it on my tab.
Put it on his tab. He's good for
Put
it
it on
today.
my tab.
There's no fronts, man. There's no fronts.
Right. Andrew, what expectations have you put when pursuing friendships or in a romantic relationship?
That's a great question, KP. Very thought-provoking question. Um, when in relationships, obviously, friendships are different than romantic relationships, but it's good that if you're friends with those romantic relationships too, right? The romantic thing comes in a little hairy, because you know obviously when we're trying to find that other one in our lives, right? That other one that we want to grow old with. um I think the unrealistic expectations get put on those people pretty quick, and almost to a fault because uh I'll keep it on me. Like when I thought about somebody who I wanted to be with the rest of my life, then I like if they don't check all the boxes, I'm quick to sign out. I'm quick to sign out, man, because and almost it's a deep rooted untrust in myself, right? It's a deep rooted untrust in myself being able to follow through with this thing, and or I'm already seeing the fail stage, guys. Does that make sense? Like I'll see that fail stage before I even start a task, because that's my disease, man. That's my disease that'll try to count me out of that thing, right? And just give me more opportunity to use drugs and use substances.
Wow.
And I'm able to see that now because I've done a little work on myself. I'm able to kind of process that question and see my fault in these things. um it has helped me get to where I've gotten in my romantic relationship that I'm in currently. um Gosh, so many ex what is that? Oh, so um romantic romantic relationships, that messed me up. Yeah, so with her specifically, I started having a couple hairy issues with her when I first started getting involved with the one I'm with now. And I was able to manage my expectations of her because of my communication that I had with her. And I opened up different lines of communication with this girl that I'm with now based on me having done so much work on myself, right? And I'm trying to answer this question specifically. Um, but her and I came to blows a couple times, and when we laid out our expectations on the table, and gave it time, there's that pause button. We didn't like freak out right at the time, but we both put our expectations out there, and then we were able to process that and come back to it. A lot of times those issues that come up that weren't even an issue that next day or following 2 days. It's kind of crazy how you get wrapped up in a situation and get all fucked up, fucking pissed off and wanting to tear the house down. And then you just give it a little time, you sleep in, and you realize that, maybe both of y'all were just being a little dramatic, maybe, a little dramatic. And yeah, man, I know that has helped me get to the point where I'm at. You know, I went to Louisville and she got on one hand and knee and asked me to marry her. So I know I'm doing something right. I'm doing something right. You know, um, my goal here is not to be successful, guys, like in anything with relationships or non-relationships. My goal is to be valuable, right? Because
Oh yeah.
once I'm valuable, the success attracts itself to you, man. Like it's not about coming out here being this big success story. Like that shit will come. It's about being valuable to the people that we love and our close ones, the ones that help us. You know, we need to remain valuable for them so we can create a little bit of peace in their life. Because those people that we lean on, they're the ones that are keeping us peaceful, man. That keeping us out of chaos. You know, good. And I was said this the other day. Good decisions come from experience, but experience comes from bad decisions. Right?
Yeah.
So we got to make bad
Yeah.
decisions to be able to get the experience, to get the good decisions going on. We're not just going to come out of this thing like, hey, I'm off drugs. Good. Everything I say is right. Everything I'm doing is proper. You know, it doesn't work like that. And so you have to stop allowing what you see to keep you from where you're going. You know what I mean? You gotta stay steadfast in what you're doing. And I have this word I have written down for the awareness is the foundation to change. It's about awareness, man. Awareness is the foundation of change, man. If I'm aware of what I'm doing and my expectations going into this thing, and then I can be aware of how I'm going to treat somebody else too. And I have this written down: mistreating people and then avoiding communication is not protecting your peace, it's avoiding accountability.
Boom. Mic drop.
I'm gonna say that again. Look, mistreating people, then avoiding communication is not protecting your peace, it's avoiding accountability. Don't be that dude, man. Don't be that dude, man. Don't be it.
Ooh.
I see you thinking, Mikey. You want me to hit you? Mistreating people and then avoiding communication is not protecting your peace, it's avoiding your accountability.
I'm just waiting for you to at me again, bro. That's what I'm waiting for. Is just at me again, bro.
Love you guys, man.
Okay, KP, you want to ask Mikey?
Pass.
You remember?
Pass.
You don't
No,
get-
no,
you
no.
don't get- I ain't co-sign that.
Just listening today.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Mikey, what expectations
Just
have you put?
At work.
What expectations have you put when pursuing friendships or in a romantic relationship?
Y'all ever hear of Pinocchio?
Oh, yeah. I'm
Y'all ever hear of
Cricket. I'm
Pinocchio?
Cricket, his friend.
The puppet master. If y'all just act accordingly and let me pull the strings, everything's gonna work out, right? When it comes to the romantic relationships part, I'm not even really gonna comment on that because I'm just not in a place to comment on that because I'm not really good at romantic relationships, and I'm okay with admitting that today, right? Because I have a lot of expectations, whether they're unrealistic, realistic, whatever. Because one of the hardest things for me to do in this process and recovery, right, is to allow you to love me the way you know how to show love, right? The way you know how to show love. Because the way I show love is different from the way everybody else knows how to show love, right? And that's something that's really, it's a hard concept for me to grasp because I expect me out of other people. It's specifically in that area, right? And it's a tough one for me, man, because that's an area that, like, I say this all the time as a joke, right? Like, in the third step, like, I give my will over, right? Except for sex and paychecks. God, you take everything else. I'm gonna handle these two areas. And it's no coincidence. It's no coincidence that those are the two areas of my life that wreak havoc sometimes, right? And when I mean sometimes, I mean like
All the
60% of the time, all the time, right? And
Panther
there's
piss.
there's no coincidence there, right? But when we talk about a friendship, man, like it's almost the same thing, right? I'll go into these modes, and this is just for me, right? I'll go into these modes where I'll be reaching out to people, and all of a sudden I'm very big on reciprocal stuff in relationships, whether it's a friendship, whether it's whatever it is, right? So I'll notice like, oh shit, if I don't call this person or if I don't text this person, I'm not going to hear from them for a while, right? And you know, the reason why I said that to Andrew after the avoiding stuff like that and avoiding accountability, it's because I need to hold myself accountable for maintaining these relationships. It's not always just on one person, right? Sometimes, man, even like check it out in a relationship with a partner, right? Like a significant other, like it's not always 50-50, right? At least that's how I understand it. Because some days it's going to be 90-10. Some days I'm the motherfucker giving 10%, and I need you to pick up all the motherfucking slack, right? And it's the same way in like a friendship. And like, check it out. The last podcast that I was on that we did was on brotherhood. And it's like that there too, because we are not all sick at the same time. We're just not all sick at the same time. And
Wouldn't work.
sometimes, check it out. Like, I might need you to reach that extra mile for me. But all of a sudden it might be a problem when it's my turn to reach that extra mile because like why am I fucking doing this all the time, right? Because my mind spins so much. Man, this labyrinth up in here, boys, it's not a good place. It's a bad hood to be in. It's just not a good place, right? And I'll go get up in there and sit in a shitty diaper in a corner somewhere in my brain reliving the past 30 years of decisions and tear myself down really fast, right? So the easiest way for me to combat that is a couple things, right? Humility being one of the biggest ones. Check it out, Milan. Acceptance that like I'm gonna fall short and I need to allow people to pick me up too sometimes. And that's the part of the humility piece, right? Because it's not always about coming down, right? Sometimes it's about coming up, right? And I need to find that, Andrew said this, that balance. It's that teeter point, and it's very evident in my relationships, whether it's a friend, whether it's a significant other, and they're just very important that I'm able to maintain those connections, right? And it's a lot easier said than done because like I said in the beginning, man, I'm gonna have expectations. I'm gonna have them. It's what do I do to adjust? What do I do to manage a quote unquote setback if you don't meet one of those expectations? Because check it out, it's not the end of the world. It's really not. It's really not. And like, you know, I'm gonna be really honest and vulnerable in this answer, right? Because like for the longest time, I was so afraid to let people in because like once you get to know the real me, you're just gonna run anyway, right? I was so scared. And that's why, man, I'm really big on the love piece too. But my emotional cutoff game is even stronger than that. I'm a petty ass motherfucker sometimes, and it's not your last name, Kyle. And I can be like that sometimes, man. And it's just the nature of this beast sometimes, man. And that's why it's important that I surround myself with my people, right? And when I say my people, it's the people that I give spiritual consent to hurt my feelings. Cause sometimes I need that tough love. I need a motherfucker to kick in the door, be like, Mikey, change your fucking diaper, get the fuck out of that, and let's go. Right. Sometimes I'll be dragging my motherfucking feet, but when I get that nudge, it's kind of like, oh shit, yeah, I probably should get up because this does suck. And you know, that expectation piece in all these relationships, it's like a spinning circle and it's adjusting itself. And I'm just along for the fucking ride because they're gonna be there whether I want them to be or not. It's not like this magic button that I push and they're all gone and everybody just starts to act accordingly because that's not how life works. Unfortunately, but fortunately, that's not how life works. And I'm just a participant along the way, boys. I just try to show up to the best of my ability. And sometimes it sucks and it's okay because, like, I'm not perfect. I'm a human being. I needed to learn that first and foremost. I'm fallible, and I love y'all. I love y'all.
you, man. Love you, bro.
Love you too, man. KP, you want to ask yourself the question?
No.
Come on, come on, come on.
Yeah.
$5.
Yeah. P.S. I can't take credit for that question. I had some help by TA.
Okay. What up,
That's a
TA?
really powerful question.
Shout out TA. Love you, sis.
Woo woo.
Yeah. That's a powerful question. That's a loaded question. You know, Mikey really, you took the words right out of my mouth, especially, when it comes to friendships and romantic relationships, because I seen my parents do it my whole life growing up. You know, it ain't always going to be 50-50. It ain't always going to be, the sunshine and rainbows. I seen my dad struggle where my mom picked up the slack. I seen my mom struggle and my dad picked up the slack. It's sometimes it's 90-10, sometimes it's 80-20, sometimes it's, sometimes it's 99-1. I seen my dad almost lose everything because he took a chance and it didn't work, and they damn near lost everything, and my mom picked up that slack, and I'm a firm believer in that. That's what makes for a solid relationship with someone. And the big one for me with friendships and relationships is, we all learn it in grade two, or even kindergarten for that matter. You treat me how you would like to be treated. I'll treat you how I would like to be treated. And when that's not reciprocated, I can get upset, but I got to remind myself, and this is in recovery. Some people are sicker than others, some people aren't in the same spot as me. And it comes down to that progress, not perfection. And with me, as long as I see somebody making an effort, I'm forgiving, I'm graceful. I'll work with you through it. And I'm all for finding a solution. I don't want to be part of the problem today. I was part of the problem for long enough. I caused enough problems, especially in active addiction. But when it comes to finding a solution and working through something, hey, count me in. I'll be the first one there with popcorn. Let's go. Let's find a solution. And, whether it's a newcomer having, a tough time, hey, I'm coming to pick you up. Let's go to a meeting. Or, if it's in my romantic relationship, hey, are we going to get through this? Is it going to cause, a lot of friction? I'm on my way home. Let's get this sorted. And for those that don't know, I work out of town. So, those are the lengths that I'm willing to go, because I'm a firm believer, without faith, it doesn't work. And, trusting the process. Like the relationship I'm in now, there's been some hurdles, there's been some confrontations, but I like what Andrew said. A lot of the times, I know for myself, I can make a mountain out of a molehill. So I try to let the situation, play out, and whether that be sleep on it and see what happens, because a lot of the times, these little situations end up not being as big as they seem. And a lot of the times when you sleep on it, you wake up and everything's okay. And I'm big for making a mountain out of a molehill. I'm an overthinker, and overthinkers, that's I can make the smallest situation the biggest situation. And a lot of the times for myself, I have to, communication is what it comes down to. Having clear communication. If there's clear communication, everything's good for me. It's when there's not clear communication that I start, how would I put it? I start predicting the problem. I start interpreting it, and it's not usually the way that it is interpreted from the beginning, if that makes sense. And it might be, I'm trying to play the tape, but when I play the tape, it isn't the what's the word? It's not even close to the outcome. And as long as me and my significant other have clear communication, that's for me the most important when it comes to romantic relationships and friendships. I've made some real solid friends and in recovery, and three of them are sitting on this meeting right now. I call it the brotherhood. These are three brothers that I would have never met if I didn't come into recovery. And these are three guys that I know I could call at any time. And, it doesn't matter what time it is, they're always there to talk. I've talked to, all three of you about situations in the past, and I've had three of you guys reach out to me when you could tell something was wrong and I wasn't talking about it. And that's what this fucking program's about to me. And I just do my best to give it in return. So that's my answer to my question. I love you
Beautiful,
I
guys.
love that. Love you,
man.
KP.
Love you, bro.
So nice to be here all together today.
Yeah, man.
Okie dokie. I have a question for you, Mr. Andrew N. Expectations are rooted in fear. Surrender is rooted in faith. And faith is where freedom rises. How can you practice faith today instead of trying to predict or control what comes next?
That's crazy. That's kind of like how I thought it was my turn to ask a question. So I was getting ready for this like faith kind of question. Ask that last part of it again, just so I can get the exact wording down.
Sure. How
Please.
can you practice faith today instead of trying to predict or control what comes next?
Yeah, that's a great. It's about balancing that control and faith, right? It's about balancing faith and control, right? There's some things that I can control, some things that I can't, even though I think I can control everything. And it's through the step work, through reading this literature that was written for me, about me, because all the answers are in the books, guys. If you got a question about yourself or this process, go read it. Go read it in the books, please. I hate reading, but like I can't get enough of these books. They tell me everything I need to know. It's like my own open book test. People ask me questions about myself, I go reference myself and then I answer it. But what I can't, the things that I can control, my actions, my attitude, my willingness, my honesty, remaining honest. I can control that, right? My service, me praying, I can control all that stuff, right? And these are all things that create faith for me as I'm doing these things, and I'm staying steadfast in all these things. My faith grows. Faith is taking that first step without seeing the whole staircase. You got to know that this thing is gonna be positive for us in the outcome. You know what I mean? We're doing good things. We're doing good things now. But faith means you know, I do the next right thing, but I'm going to stop writing the script for all the rest of it. Does that make sense? Like I'm going to keep doing the right thing. I'm gonna have faith. I'm going to do the right thing, but I'm not writing the script for how it's supposed to go anymore. Right. And so I've said this before, like my God's power of love created all these blessings out here for me, man. I'm fully aware I've got all these blessings out here. And as long as I remain faithful, faith is going to schedule every single one of them. My faith will schedule those blessings. And then now, because I'm not using drugs anymore, I'm going to actually remember when I got them, how I got them, what I did to get them. And those blessings hit so much harder when you remember that shit, when you remember why and how and what you did, and you did the right thing to get that blessing, bro. You hang on to them. You know, an active addiction, I didn't feel like I was getting blessed with anything unless I fucking found drugs that weren't mine, or like I got over on somebody. Man, that was all the faith I had in like cool shit happening to me and good shit happening to me, is when I fell into a lick, right? Or that they want to call it, whatever you want to call it. And bro, I had gotten so comfortable in that spot where nothing ever seemed to be proactively positive for me. And when it did, I was so down low and so fucking beat up at that point that like it won't gonna take, you know, whatever this little thing that happened. I'm like, well, I deserve that because I'm just been getting raped and pillaged the whole time, you know, to myself. So I needed a little break. You know, I needed a little break. Now I'm getting blessed with these breaks because I'm already on the up and up, staying clean, and I'm already positive in my mindset. I'm tasting the food for what it really tastes like, you know, seeing the colors and shit, hearing sounds the way they really sound. And so now I'm just kind of adding to my life now. You know, as I remain faithful, I can start stacking these things up and organizing them in my garage that I have organized now, right? That you know, it used to be that unorganized, shitty garage. You can't find anything. Now I got everything all binned up, you know, and organized, and I can fit my car in my garage now. You know, it's not just that hellhole storage unit that you used to throw shit in. That's how my brain was in active addiction, man. I would just throw shit up there, get lost, you know, and then you start cleaning it out and you're like, oh, that's where that pressure washer went. That's where that pressure washer went. And you bought 3 other pressure washers now. So now you got to store pressure washers because you got 4 of them. So we're like, we're a little crazy, man. I know I was. I'm still crazy. You know,
Oh,
I'm
we're
still
still
crazy.
crazy. We're still crazy.
So on the opposite side of that, Mikey, the things I can't control are other people's opinions. Can't control other people's opinions, bro. I can't control their healing process, right? I can only control mine. I can't control what happens tomorrow either. I can't control what happens tomorrow. And I can't, hear me on this one, I cannot control the pace of forgiveness. I can't control the pace of forgiveness. You got to think about that one. Forgiveness has its own pace. And each one of those forgiveness, that whole process has its own pace. You gotta be that pace car, man. You gotta just ride with it, bro. You gotta ride with that shit, man. And so trying to control things would drain me spiritually, right? I'd be like spiritually electrocuted when I'm trying to control things. And the moment you think about control, guys, you're out of control. The moment you start thinking about that word control, you're out of control, man. And so you know, you got to make some amends in this process, and making amends too early. This is another thing I wanted to hit on, this whole expectations. A lot of times we'll come out of here out the gate shooting. Like I told you, I tried to do my step work as fast as I could, get it all done in one night. Well, I did my first amends process too early. So I was putting these amends and trying to get this forgiveness, you know, and trying to give this say I'm sorry and all this shit, but it was too early. It was too early in my process. I wasn't ready to give it, and they weren't ready to receive it at that point. And so I did more damage than good, but I can see that now, right? And I've made up for that. But you want to just temper those expectations at the beginning, man, and just slow down. Just stop. Just stay clean one day at a time. That's all you got to do, man. That's enough today. So I don't even think I answered the question, but it sounds good.
I think there was definitely some question answering. Mikey,
Maybe.
expectations are rooted in fear. Surrender is rooted in faith, and faith is where freedom rises. How can you practice faith today instead of trying to predict or control what comes next?
So, speaking of those nuggets that we've been dropping, right? Like some Andrew just mentioned, the other people's opinions are something I can't control. I learned in a little different place that those opinions are none of my fucking business. They're none of my business, right? I'm not meant to know that. And if I somehow come to know that, it doesn't matter, right? It just doesn't matter. Um, Talking about faith, and for me, right, hope and faith go hand in hand. And check it out. You some of you guys might not know this, but I'm bisexual. So I know a lot about a lot of things. And like, I heard this in a place, and I don't remember where I heard it again. Same thing, but faith without works is dead.
Ooh, we dead as a
Flatline.
dog on the road.
So that tells me that I need to do a little work behind having that faith. And check it out. I'm going to name drop my boy Ebby Thatcher for this because he was the first taste of faith and hope in any piece of literature and recovery that I read. Right? Because here comes this dude, and he was a beacon for somebody else, right? He was a beacon for somebody else. And I got to see that. And once I started to realize that shit's everywhere else, right? When I started to open my eyes, like, I was able to have that faith. And we're talking about control. And like, I love that Andrew brought that up. Like, it's a healthy balance in there because there is some things that I control. Right. There is some things that I can't control. Me specifically, first and foremost, is I don't have control over my first thought. My first thought is just gonna come. And I'm a fucking addict. So sometimes it's gonna be about fucking using, right? A race car driver thinks about making left turns. An astronaut thinks about space. A baseball player thinks about hitting home runs. I'm an addict. Sometimes I'm gonna think about using, right? And that's okay. It's okay, right? Because I control the second thought. I can control the third thought. I can control the fourth thought, right? I have juice over those things today. Thank you, recovery. Because I used to take those. I love that, you know, it's been like, man, I've been sitting in meetings the past couple days and it's been coming up a lot, right? That shit that spins in my brain, that play that I put on in my head, and I'll play out a tape, right? And it's fucking so just far fetched, right? What do we call it, Andrew? Shower muscles, right?
Shower muscles, yeah.
Getting into an argument in the shower, planning this shit out. Like, if you say this, I'm gonna say that, right? And man, having faith today rather than trying to control things is a game changer, right? Because I have enough evidence in my life and I have enough other people in my life that I see this thing works. So I have no other reason than to put some faith in this process, right? We call it trust the process, right? Trust the process. And when I trust something, I have faith that it's going to do what it's going to do, right? And you know, this thing, man, it tells me in where I come from in the book, right? It tells me that there's a 100% success rate. Never have we seen somebody relapse who lives a program of where I go, right? And how can I not have faith in that, man? How can I not have faith in that, right? Because this step work teaches me to relinquish a little bit of that control, right? It teaches me to remove Mikey from situations. And it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing when I get the fuck out of the way, how things just seem to work out, right? Because I complicate everything. Everything. You can give me the most simple alley oop in the world, and I'm gonna brick that shit in the
A fart.
and wow, I'll complicate a fart too. That's
He
right.
could poop his
Woo!
pants. He
Come
could
on,
poop his
man.
pants.
Woo!
I'll mess that up, man. I will mess that up. And but that's the important part of this thing is learning that like faith isn't such a bad thing, man. It's not. And it's not blind faith today because like I said, I need to put in a little work behind that, right? And that's where a lot of the hope comes in for me too because I see it everywhere. I see 3 examples. That's right. That's
Come
right.
on, man. Come on, man. Keep
I
it
see
simple.
Yeah.
I see 3 examples in front of me of what a program and actually working it can do in somebody's life, right? I see that on a daily basis. And I've learned to put that faith and trust in this process, right? Check it out. Through this process, I've gained a higher power. I've gained a God of my understanding. That is a huge, huge source of that faith,
Game
right?
changer.
Because I put my God on a shelf, right? That's what I do sometimes. And my God is a true gentleman. He's not coming unless I invite him. So I need to do that prayer that we were talking about. I don't remember where it was, but people told me that this prayer thing worked, and I started to do it, and like, son of a bitch, this thing works, right? It works. Something as simple as relinquishing that control. Um, because that's what it was, man. I wanted to pull the strings. I wanted everything to go according to the way I saw fit. I wanted everything to work out in my favor. And that's just not life. That's not what this thing is. That's not what this thing is about, and that's not what I'm gonna get, right? Whether I was an addict or not, that's not what I'm going to get. Life is just going to happen. I just happen to come equipped with a whole bunch of other fucking shit going on in my brain that I complicated even further, right? And I'm okay with that today, man, because like I have a disease, but check it out. I have a disease that's treatable on a daily basis. On a daily basis. I don't need to worry about next week. I don't need to worry about 2 months from now. I just got to worry about today, man. And it's not always going to be easy, right? I'm that person that I like to tell people, like, I'm not going to tell you it's going to get better. I'm just going to tell you it's going to get different, right? It's just going to get different because an addict not using is in an abnormal state. And I'm uncomfortable a lot. But y'all told me when I got here, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And check it out. That comes with a lot of fucking faith. That comes with a lot of hope. That comes with a lot of trust. That comes with a lot of honesty. That comes with a lot of willingness. That comes with a lot of fucking spiritual principles that I'm not used to applying in my daily life. But shit seems to work out when I get to do that, man. And yeah, I think that's what I got for that one.
Love
Yeah,
that.
man.
Love you,
Love
Mikey.
you, man. Love you, bro.
We'll be back.
Mr. KP, expectations are rooted in fear. Surrender's rooted in faith, and faith is where freedom rises. How can you practice faith today instead of trying to predict or control what comes next?
I like that question. And you know what? I'm going to start it off with this. Fear stands for fuck everything and run, or face everything and recover. And if I choose to face everything and recover today, I have very little problems. Well, I mean, I have a lot of problems, but, um, I have very little problems that I can't get through, would be the best way to word that. And it's because I found a God of my understanding in this program. I grew up religious. I went to church with my parents. I've always believed in something bigger than myself. And, that was the biggest thing one of the biggest reasons and that caused me to keep going back out was I wouldn't let him in. I wouldn't ask for help. Um, I just was a self-will run riot. I wouldn't hand my will over, I didn't want to help. Um, but my higher power brought me to my knees in 2014 and I came back with my tail between my legs and all I could hear was sit down, shut up, take the cotton out of your ears and stick it in your mouth and, listen. Um, things started to work and, I've made it mandatory in my recovery that every morning when I wake up, I hand that will over. And don't get me wrong, there's days that I try to take it back. And let me tell you, my day goes fucking sideways in a hurry. Um, it's like that analogy of me driving the bus. When I drive the bus, it tends to drive off a cliff. And I can't drive the bus. I just got to be a passenger. My higher power needs to drive the bus today, and um, there's. I wish I would have heard this early in recovery, but I just heard it. In my 10th year, and it would have been a game changer if I heard it in early recovery. But now I say it often, and you know, I've got nothing against religion. I've got nothing against it, but I heard something that really stuck with me, and it's religion is for people that don't want to go to hell, and spirituality is for people that have been to hell and don't want to go back. And I tell you, I've become the biggest spiritual person in these last 10 years, man. Um, you know, I've asked for help and I've got it. And I'm not talking from, another person. I may have got the help through what somebody has said, but that was because my higher power, God, put that person in my, and that rang true 3 months ago when it was the 3-year anniversary of losing my dad. And I prayed over and over again for the help and the guidance and, just the patience to get through it. And man, the people that were put in my life, one of these people sitting on these Hollywood squares that I'm looking at right now was one of them. And, that was through another person that's on this meeting today. And, each and every one of you, my higher power put in my life when I needed it. And, I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for that. I can't take any credit for my clean time because I haven't done any of it by myself. It's all thanks to my higher power and the people in the rooms. I've got boundaries today. I've got, I'm gonna say it. Mikey says it often. I've found my self-worth today, and I don't need to put myself on the fucking clearance rack anymore. Knowing my worth has allowed me to, pick the people that I surround myself with. And that's the people in these rooms. That's the people in recovery, the people that are fighting for just one more day clean, just like me. And, when we're all fighting for the same thing, it's hard not to have faith in this program because we all want the same thing at the end of the day. And that's another 24 clean. And that's to put our head on the pillow at night and say we made it. And, I do that every night and I give thanks to my higher power. And, that makes me want to cry because I've had so many signs and answers. I've done a lot of meetings in these last 4 months, and man, the way my higher powers talk to me, through the groups, through nature, whatever it may be. My sponsor told me that I will only get those answers if I watch for them. And step 11, I'll end it with this. Step 11 was, it was one that I fought for a long time, the prayer and meditation. And it was probably in my first year in 2015, I heard it. And it was prayer is asking for God's help or your higher power's help. And meditation is, listening for the answer. And ever since then, I've followed my prayer up with a meditation, and that answer might not come right away, but it's within those 24 hours that I get the answer that I need. And that's a gift to me today. So thanks for that question, Milan. I love you guys.
Love you, KP. So expectations are rooted in fear, surrender is rooted in faith, and faith is where freedom rises. How can I practice faith today instead of trying to predict or control what comes next? Well, I like this question not just because I made it up, but because right now the theme of my last week has
Sick
been
humble
freedom.
brag, bro. Sick humble brag. I like it.
You know what? I right now I'm enjoying talking about freedom. Freedom is a big part of this last week for me, and I'm feeling freedom inside me. Like freedom doesn't come from without. Like it really doesn't come from without. Freedom doesn't come from a fat bank account. Like it's just not that. Like when I'm feeling freedom inside, it makes me smile, makes me sing about it, makes me scream about it, and expectations rooted in fear, like every expectation is either me fearing that I'm going to lose what I have or you're not going to do what I want you to do, and both of those things are 100% selfish, you know, and I think when we're praying, like the whole thing is about us giving ourselves away. And so, surrender is rooted in faith. Like I really like surrender to me is the ticket to freedom. Like like every little thing that I manage to have some semblance of surrender in, even if it's like a little bit now, fuck, lost it, a little bit now, lost it, a little bit now, lost it, or like, whoa, I just like was able to not get angry 2 out of 3 times or something, like something that I was struggling with and or am struggling with, but the struggles are lessening with more surrender. And the thing about that for me is that the surrender isn't possible without the faith.
Yeah.
Like the surrender's lip service. The surrender's lip service without faith because you're just not gonna believe where it's going. At least for me. Like surrender without faith is me still thinking I'm dealing with my defects like 8 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like it's
Love that.
it's totally that, and so man, freedom rocks. Like those little moments of freedom in your heart. Like
Fuck drugs,
all
man.
your-
Fuck
like,
drugs.
like everybody
Amen.
you like those the sensation of freedom is pretty freaking elating. Like it's more than a neutral, it's more than mild contentment. Freedom feels amazing.
You want to sing the word? Like I don't want to just say it. I want
Freedom,
freedom. I just want to sing it and yell it. I don't want to just say it. It's crazy.
freedom. Come on, bring him in.
Freedom.
Freedom. That's right.
Freedom. I'm terrible.
But yeah, so I love it. And so for me, the way I practice faith today instead of trying to predict or control is praying gratitudes. Praying gratitudes and doing it every single day. Praying gratitude for things that I'm struggling with. Gratitude for that struggle. Gratitude for the opportunity to grow through that struggle. Like and man, it's a real life-changing thing. Like how they say to pray for somebody you're mad at. Try praying like that for a month, and man, if you don't get some results, I'll be so surprised. I'll be so surprised if you could do 4 weeks straight of praying gratitude for all the shit that's going on in your life, even the bad shit. You're gonna have a
Change
life
your life.
change.
Change
Have a
your
life
life,
change. It'd be like wow,
100%.
wow, just like that.
Are
Yeah.
you telling me that prayer thing really works? Is that what we're saying again?
Yeah,
Knock
yeah,
knock.
Mikey.
Who's there? Faith.
Ding dong.
Okay,
Tell me to
so
fluff your pillow.
what I was thinking is that we can do a prolonged lightning round now, because really we kind of just got through one set of questions. I think let's just do
Yeah,
a
I
whole
gotta go
bunch of lightning.
soon.
We
Yeah,
gotta go
I gotta.
soon,
In the
Okay.
next 10, 15 minutes, I gotta go.
or
man.
like 22 minutes. No,
Whatever.
10, 15, 22. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna set a clock, and when someone's got to go, we'll end. But either way, Andrew, you want to ask Mikey a
Yes.
question?
Of course I do. Mikey, what role does surrender play in reshaping your expectations?
Bingo.
What role does surrender play reshaping my expectations?
Yes, sir.
It's that pivot point, right? It's that navigating these things, right? Because when the expectation isn't met, I got to be able to surrender to my thoughts. I got to be able to surrender to my feelings. I got to be able to surrender to whatever outcome that I was expecting to happen that didn't, or just whatever expectation that didn't get met, man. So like surrender plays a huge role in that, because it's like, okay, like, oh, we're gonna go this way now. Okay, fine, because it's just not this easy thing, and Surrender's huge, man. It's huge. It's quite possibly literally the whole part of it, because I need to be able to have that surrender of it. And
Boom.
Mikey drop.
Yeah, Mikey drop. Where'd KP go?
Are you ready,
KP?
KP?
Are you out there?
I'm here. I'm here.
All
I
right.
don't
So
know
what role does surrender play in reshaping your expectations?
You know, it's giving up my power. It's handing it over. You know, it's not my decision. And you know, when I hand it over and I allow, you know, my higher power in, it allows my higher power to make that decision, and then it is out of my control. So when it's out of my control, I can't set an expectation. Um, you know, I just have to pray for the best outcome, and you know, that's where acceptance comes in, because I've asked for help, and I'm going to accept the outcome, and that's where that comes in for me.
Love that, man. Love
Love
that. You
it.
ready? You ready, Milan?
Yeah. Go.
What
go.
role does surrender play in reshaping your expectations?
Boom. Well, surrender brings like just kind of takes a whole pile of my fucking defects and puts them in the garbage can. Like it really does. It's just like oh, I took out the trash. Why? Because it's in that hairy God box. And when it's in that hairy God box, I'm not allowed to look back at it. And I know that some people are just like infinitely wise and don't need like a physical manifestation of this. But once you get one, man, you're never gonna want to give it away. Because that little hairy God box, the surrendering into that box has allowed me to just turn switches off of my brain. And for me, it's been a magical pen to paper part of my feeling surrender and God's will and my will.
a
Done.
little
Love that.
post control clarity, if you will.
A little boop boop boop. boop.
So what role does surrender play in reshaping my expectations? Well, it did a lot, man. I'm Capendero Surrendero here recently, man. If I can out surrender this thing, it's a lot easier than me working on the 700 things I think I got wrong with me, man. On top of that, I got all these things that I think that everybody else thinks is wrong with me, which is a bunch of people pleasing and all that nonsense. So if I could just surrender these problems, man, and it's about surrendering my expectations, right? Got to surrender my expectations. You know, I go from demanding to accepting. Okay. I go from control to trust. And then I go from ego to humility, man. That's what I do. That's what surrender does, man. On the front side of that is all that bad shit, and on the back side of that surrender is all the good shit, man. So if I can surrender this thing over, then it says that I'm in a peaceful place. I can reflect on my process when I'm at peace with my life, man. And peace, there's no way to peace, guys. Peace is the way. So get yourself some, man.
Show me the way.
Okie and the dokie. Okay, Mikey, ask KP a question, lightning style.
All right. How did the reality of recovery differ from when you started this process? You got
Well,
Chuck and Chuck.
that's short and sweet, because I didn't think that I was even gonna, you know, I didn't even think 24 hours was possible, you know, and then as I came around and stayed longer, you know, then I didn't know a week was possible, and then I got 30 days, and it just kept getting better and better, and you know, the longer I stayed clean, the more blessings I got, the more my life got better, the more it evolved, and you know, the reality was, you know, I didn't think that this life was even possible, the life I have today. You know, I didn't think it was possible to be able to heal the wreckage from my past. And I was able to heal it, and I was able to grow, and I was able to get my life back. Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding. Love that. Love that. Okay, I need the question again because I was like busy being a
You're
go-go
playing
dancer.
around like a little child.
I'm
we
a
were
baby.
we were in sync.
We were like a boy band.
In
That's-
sync. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How did the reality of recovery differ from when you started this process?
Well, okay, like before recovery, all I knew was white knuckling. And white knuckling was a resentment filled state of straightness that I hated everybody I was quitting for. But now, it is freedom. It is truly freedom from addiction. Like, man, I have, like, the surrender for my substance was such an amazing thing and has brought me so much mental peace, and that I never thought would ever happen. In all my white knuckling times, it was that squirrel was still going, and that squirrel was telling me to hate you for quitting for you.
Me too.
And now it's just like, man, I love you because I'm just grateful to be free from that. Like that monkey, I thought that monkey was a lifetime monkey on the back, and it's gone.
Love it.
Yeah.
Boop, 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 boop.
You ready? You ready? You ready?
Oh,
My
he's
turn?
ready. Yeah.
Are you ready?
Born ready, man.
How did the reality of recovery differ from how does the reality of recovery differ from when you started this process?
God, man, reality's completely different. Everything slowed down for me, man. Everything slowed down for me. Um, I'm able to intake things and process them in a proper way, man. And if I don't know something, I can call my friends, my buddies. Got 3 of them sitting on this meeting right now, man. And when you're what is it? What is that thing that I said the other day? When you're up, your friends know who you are, and when you're down, you know who your friends are, right?
Boop, boop,
You with me on that? You with me on that?
Yeah.
When
boop,
you're
boop,
up,
boop,
you
boop.
got friends coming out of the woodworks all over the place, man. But when you're down, that's when you know who your friends are. When you ain't got no money, when you got no attitude, no motivation to do anything, you know who the people who love you are, man. They'll come find you. Um, and this thing right here is the best bag in town, man. This is the best bag in town. It's the bag that doesn't run dry. So
Fuck yeah.
I'm able to make
Yeah.
mistakes today and understand that how it doesn't matter how slow my progress is, I'm still a lot faster than those motherfuckers that ain't trying to do a thing for about themselves. So hit me up.
Love it.
How did the reality of recovery differ from when I started this process? Like I said in the beginning of the podcast, right? Like I thought it was putting down the drugs and everything was going to work itself out, right? The reality of it was a rude awakening, right? Because I was not ready to heal the little Mikey inside me. I didn't even know that I had this scared little boy trapped inside of me, and he was driving 97% of the decisions that I had out of fear. I didn't know that. And how does that differ for me today, man? Is I get to address the little Mikey inside of me, and I get to try and help heal him, and I get to try and do that through step work. I get to try and do that through spiritual principles. I get to do that by trial and error today, man. I get to do that by trial and error today, and I'm just forever going to be grateful for it, man, because I would have never understood this stuff. I'm so thankful that I found the rooms in recovery and step work because, like, this gives me an opportunity to heal one day at a time.
Love that,
Woohoo.
man.
Oh,
Ooh, drop
slid
that.
right in on the second. KP, you got a question for the lightning round?
I do.
Okay.
Short and sweet. Who am I asking first?
Me.
My man. What is gratitude to you?
Gratitude is walking my dogs because I love them, smiling at the sun while it shines on my face, thanking the universe for the wind blowing on my face and it responding to me with another gust. Um, gratitude is writing a song about freedom because it's singing from my heart. Gratitude is maybe doing something for my parents because they need it being done. Gratitude's, pulling over and talking to my daughter while she's traveling so she doesn't feel alone. Gratitude is maybe cleaning up the kitchen before my wife gets home because it makes her feel settled inside her brain. Gratitude is an action.
Yeah. Love it.
Amen to that.
Yes. I think I know the question. What is gratitude to me?
Yes, sir.
You're looking at it, man. You're looking at it. Being present in this moment right now makes me so grateful. A grateful addict doesn't use. that's the one sentiment I hear so much in these rooms, is being grateful for being alive, being grateful for this, being grateful that I stayed clean, even though my son was murdered today. I hear so many grateful stories, man, and it's gotten me so much hope. It gave me hope, man. Give me hope and love, the only two spiritual principles we give to each other. And y'all slap that shit on me, man. And I'm so grateful that I am an addict today, because I know what my problem is, Kyle. A lot of people go out of this world not even knowing a fucking thing that's wrong with them, or getting a car accident, whatever. I know what my problem is today, man, and I have steps to work on it. This is the only disease that has us convinced we don't have it, Kyle. I'll say that shit every day till I die. But it is also the only disease, when it's treated properly, leaves the motherfucker in a better position than if he even had the disease to begin with. Holler at your boy. I'm grateful for. That is what I'm grateful for. All these people with all these problems that walk around not being spiritual at all, man. These bunch of drug addicts being spiritual up in this world. Come on.
Mikey,
what is gratitude to you?
I love gratitude. I love me some gratitude on most days. Why? Because gratitude is an action word. I need to put in some effort, right? Check it out, man. I can tell you I'm grateful for my car all day long, but when you get in it, is it filled with shit? Is it not clean? Is it not, right? So what do I have to do for my recovery? Is I gotta fucking polish that bitch up. How do I do that? Some step work, some involvement, some service work, those things. Gratitude to me is putting in work to really appreciate what I have. Because when I do put in that work, I can appreciate the fruits of the labor, right? That's exactly what it is for me. It's all about action. Keeps my feet moving, and I love it. I love it. I love it. A grateful addict will never use. That's it, man. Well, I mean, what else do I need to say about it other than fucking I'm grateful for you three fellas?
Nothing. Mic drop sound.
Yeah.
KP, what is gratitude to you?
What is gratitude to me? Gratitude is sitting on this podcast with three of the closest brothers in recovery that I have.
Let's go. Being
able to talk about recovery, an attitude of gratitude, it is an action word. And as long as I wake up every morning and I'm supposed to have that attitude, the grateful addict will not use. I'm grateful for what I have because I know what it's like to have less. I'm grateful for where I'm at in life because I know where I used to be. I know where I can go back to at the snap of a finger. I'm grateful for all the people that I met in recovery because I have a whole new family. I've been given a whole new way of life thanks to this program. And, Andrew, you said it. I know what my problem is. And I am so grateful because a lot of people, they never got to make it through the door, and we did. And as long as we choose this way of life, we'll keep this way of life.
Ooh, come on, Kyle.
I love that. So everybody out there, if you haven't seen, we've done a special re-release on episode 81.
I seen it. I saw it. Silly.
It might be the funniest episode in the history of mankind.
Dropping the mic on me, man. Love you, bro. Love you.
You guys, thank you three for being here today. This was a lot of fun.
Love y'all, man.
It was a lot of fun. My heart is warm and my smile, like my cheeks. I got some tension in my cheeks from smiling. I know.
But did it meet your expectations?
Ooh.
Did it exceed?
I would say. I would say that. You know
question.
what? I wanted to have fun today. I wanted to to smile and laugh with my bros, and I wanted to talk recovery. So every expectation was met.
Love you.
Yeah.
Okay, so guess what? Tune in next episode for more recovery fun. Bye-bye, everybody.
Guys, love y'all.
I love you. Please help us help others. If you like what you've seen here today, please subscribe and share this podcast and help us get to 100 followers. We're looking for interaction with our audience. So please email recoveryfreedomrising@gmail.com or contact Milan South Okanagan Starcic on Facebook with questions, topic suggestions, or just comments. We'd love to hear from you.